This is a little painting by my friend Francis Cunningham. I consider Francis my teacher. I've been fortunate enough to paint with him up in Sheffield, Massachusetts. That's where this painting was painted. And this painting, Francis considers these paintings, or paintings like this, Primer Coup paintings. That's a French term, Primer meaning first, Coup meaning strike. So it's a painting that's done in one sitting. And I really like these paintings because they're very loose. And I just think they capture the landscape in its truest form. There's a little bit of a problem with this painting, not so much in the painting, but in the structure of it. And that is that the painting is almost 1/4 of an inch out of square. And that's pretty far out of square for a painting that's this small. So it's pretty easy to see. And unfortunately, there's no easy way to deal with this. What I'm going to have to do is make a new stretcher and then take this painting off the old stretcher and restretch the painting. I'll get started by ripping 3/4 inch material at 1.5 inches wide. Then I'll change the angle of the table saw to 7 degrees and cut a taper into the stretcher bars. It's important to taper the stretcher bars so only the outer edge of the stretcher hits the edge of the canvas. If I didn't do this, the painting would eventually form a line where the back of the painting rests against the inner edge of the stretcher. Next, I'll use the miter saw to cut a 45-degree angle on one side of all the stretcher bars. I've cut a piece of cardboard the same size as the painting, so I don't have to have the painting in the shop with me. And I'll use the piece of cardboard as a guide for the next miter cut. With the molding in line to make the cut, I'll trace a line on my sacrificial fence so I can line up the second piece of molding for the next cut. And now I can simply repeat the process for the next 2 stretcher bars. Now I'm ready to build the frame using wood glue and 1.25 inch nails in the nail gun. I make a lot of frames, so I know the 45-degree angles are true and the stretcher will be square. But if you don't do this every day, you should check to make sure that your 45-degree angles equal 90. After letting the glue set up for about an hour, I'm reinforcing the miter joint with a finish screw, being sure to pre-drill and countersink first. To make sure the stretcher is square, measure from corner to corner on both sides, and if the measurement is the same, then the stretcher is square. Now I'm ready to remove the painting from the old stretcher and restretch it on the new one. Starting at the center, I use one staple, then I pull from the opposite side and add another staple. I'll continue to do this, working my way from the center out until I get to the edge. Here you can see where the upper right-hand corner of the painting was pulled off of the front of the painting and onto the edge. Okay, well, I just finished up and I'm pretty happy with that. You can see where it was just this corner that was out of square when my buddy stretched the canvas over. I saw that immediately. I hate things that are out of square. But anyway, I'm framing this, and I guess if you were using a frame where the frame lipped over the front of the painting, it wouldn't be as much of an issue. But this is going to be floated in a float frame, so the painting needs to be square, pretty close to square at least. Sometimes you can kind of just take a little adjustment, maybe just make it look good. It might be 3/16 on this side of a reveal and maybe 1/4 inch down here. But with the painting being 1/4 of an inch out, it wasn't even close. So I had no choice but to restretch it. Now this was obviously not my painting, so I decided to restretch the original canvas. If this was my painting, maybe an easier solution would be to take the painting off of the old stretcher and then just glue it to a piece of 3/4 inch birch plywood, furniture grade birch plywood, and then you could trim it to size with a razor blade. But I didn't want to take those liberties because it's not my painting. So I will be framing this, and I'm going to start working on the framing design now, and that will be a separate video. So I hope you'll tune in for that. As always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.